So hi guys, my name is Gabrielle Tola. I am a junior writing major with minors in Latinx studies and vocal performance. And I'm here with you today to be leading this little interview for one of my favorite people. She is a 2015 IC grad, owner of Malaika Apparel, was a leading student activist on IC's campus as part of the POC at IC movement, which you're sure to see pictures of if you were to enter the Ideas Lounge, pointed to as a pivotal moment in our campus's modern history for a call to equity and justice. POC at IC was a spark for change. And so join us as we add her powerful voice to our archives, Rita Bunatal.
Hi, thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you.
So we can get right into the questions unless, Rita, you have anything you want to say first.
I'm glad to be here. I'm ready. I'm ready for the questions.
Beautiful. So first off, what is your definition of a student activist?
Um, hmm, I guess I guess I personally don't have like a specific definition. I think activism can look different in different ways. I would say it's getting involved in conversations, not just doing it when it's a hot topic, constantly being involved in certain conversations, making sure that your voice is heard, and sort of just like doing things. And it doesn't have to be big, right? You don't have to be doing a whole walkout. You don't have to plan a whole, whatever, but um, just being able to be able to fight for something that is, an issue, a common issue amongst the student body, amongst your community members, and being able to sort of kind of rally around that and make sure that, your voice is heard. And also educating yourself about things. Like you can't do this activism work without educating and reading the past works and the past, like literally notes, what I think of as notes from other activists and revolutionaries.
Absolutely. And it's something that never stops. You always
Right.
continue
It
to
continues.
learn
It
as
can,
you work
like,
through your
I was a student. I was a student activist, but I still do this. I'm not a student anymore. And I'm still very much passionate about the things that I was passionate about in college. And then now even more because now I'm in like, not like college is in the real world, but it's like now like I'm paying rent.
real world.
I'm doing,
Yeah.
I got like mad bills. Like I got a lecture, like I got a lot of bills. And so it's just like just being able to sort of like navigate the spaces that you're in and like understanding like how these issues like they relate to very much like your real life, like post college.
Absolutely. What is your history with activism and why did you get involved with this specific movement?
Hmm. Well, I don't think. Well, so for me, I would say in terms of act getting involved in activism, I just feel like it wasn't something that I was like actively trying to do. Um, so I guess a little backstory about me. I grew up in Texas. I was born in Dallas, Texas, and I moved to Ghana when I was 14. I actually moved around a little bit when I was younger. I lived in the Virgin Islands for a little bit. My dad does like hotel stuff, so like he was always going around, and we moved along with him. But we moved to Ghana when I was 14, and a part of me really didn't want to go to Ghana because of things that I saw on TV, and it's just like really wild because it's like, how do I not want to move to a place that is literally what raised me? Like the culture is what raised, like my mother is Ghanaian. Like, how do I not want to go to my mother's motherland? Um, and just thinking about those things and not wanting to go there and just like all of these stereotypes and all that. And I moved to Ghana. That was, that was a whole experience in and of itself, really life-changing experience, and really like helped me to launch my like company what it is today. um and when I came back to the United States, I came to IC. That was like my first place back when I moved back. And I just sort of noticed like the conversations now that, I have that experience. I've grown, I've seen the other side of the narrative. I've seen what's actually in Ghana. I've experienced Ghanaian culture, Ghanaian people. And I came back to the US, and I was just, in conversations in class, like I was just very, frustrated with a lot of just like people making really big assumptions about Africa and Africans and just like a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I joined the African Students Association just because I wanted to have a community. And that was really my community for the 4 years I was there. And, for me, it was just constant conversations, right? Like you have a community of folks you're with, and then you're having these conversations. Any Alana organization, like, you're always having these conversations, like, and you're always having these
Yeah.
conversations, right? Um, so yeah, so I was heavily involved in the ASA, and some of our members just organically were involved in a lot of like a lot of protests, a lot of actions that were happening on campus even before I was like a sophomore. Like I already knew when I was a freshman, I came in already like talking to some of my, older, like, seniors about things that are already going on, actions that are already happening. And already like these issues like racism, things like that, like it wasn't like a new thing. Like it didn't just happen in 2012, like, um and so just being involved in those things really just helped me to sort of just and just like grow, like, you have that new experience. Like I'm coming back to the US after being gone for 4 years and coming back literally with a new perspective. Like I grew up here, but like now I have a different perspective as to what the hell is going on in this space that I'm in right now. And it's just like it was just frustrating because you're sitting in class, you're expecting that everyone should have the same level of knowledge as you, and you're sitting here referring to Africa as a country. Like that don't make sense. Geography, you could have passed geography if you didn't label Africa as a country. Like it don't make no sense. So it, for me, it was just like a lot, and even professors were doing it, and I'm like, how are you teaching me that? Anyways, but it was just like it was a lot, and it was just frustrating. Like imagine like me sitting here, I'm thousands of miles away from my family, and I'm sitting here having to listen to this ignorance. Like I don't like that's annoying, and it like sits in you, and you're like, what can I do about it? Like I personally like I can't let things sit and fester inside of me. I can only do it for like so long, but I have to do something about it. So after, my first year, I got, a lot more involved, and I remember one of the things that we were trying to do was get the Native American Studies program added to CSCRE. And that was one of the things that we were protesting a lot. We did like walking, we did a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of that stuff did inspire some of the work that we did for POC at IC. And again, we were involved in that as freshmen and sophomores. So by the time I was a senior doing literally in POC at IC, like I had already seen what worked and what didn't work. I had already seen like all of these things, like I'd already seen some of these things. So for me, it just like, I kind of fell into it, but also just naturally, like I couldn't keep quiet about some things, like the POC at IC thing. It was how it started was just like, not even random, but it was just like, oh, like this is like this is, this is real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's interesting because the year before, so the protest kind of kicked off 2015. This, I would say the summer of 2015. Yeah, the summer of 2015. And the year before, we had done like a campaign that was actually, I had done a campaign with some folks in the park school, and it was titled POC at IC. Like that was what we wanted to title it, because we wanted people to use that hashtag on Twitter and talk about their experiences being people of color at Ithaca College. It didn't really kick off. It didn't really like, OMG, like, wow. But later on, like that's actually where the name, like, I feel like I was when I was like, let's just use POC at IC. Like it kind of goes. And also like, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
that is actually what kind of led us to that name actually. But that summer, how it actually all kicked off was I was a summer RA. I was also an RA. And RAs come back for training. And what happened during that training, this was before anybody was even on campus, mind you. It was only RAs, and basically what happened, we were in that training. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the public safety training that they have. And basically one of the officers was like, if we see you with the BB gun, we will not hesitate to shoot you, period. Like, obviously not like that, but like literally like that. And obviously we know Tamir Rice, who was like 12, got killed because of that same exact reason. So it's like literally that little boy got killed because he was holding a BB gun. And this man is sitting up in Texter Hall, Texter 101, and telling us that if he sees us or any residents with a BB gun, that he will shoot and kill us. And so I was like, what the hell? I was like, wait, how are you about to tell us? Like, I know what, like, but also it's like, why are you saying that? And he was talking and he was listening, and he was also saying he can see the difference between a BB. This person is telling us how to notice the difference between a BB gun and a real gun. You're telling us what the difference is, but then still you're going to still tell us that you're going to literally murder somebody if you saw them with that, point blank, period, no questions asked. So that was hectic. That was very, very chaotic. It was a lot going on. Some of the RAs, some of my friends, walked out. Simply, I walked out too. I was like, I'm not doing this. And it was two sessions going on, right? Public safety. So one room was talking about that BS, and then the next room was talking about terrorism, right? They're telling you about terrorism, all this stuff, and they were talking about how Muslims are just some fat, false ass stuff. We know the domestic terrorists in this country are majority white. They're not brown, okay? So for him to come and pull those stats up and pull that on the board and tell that to a bunch of RAs that are of color as well. Nah, one of my friends who's brown, he walked out and he was like, he came out literally this we were, as me and my friend had walked out of that other room, obviously texters right next to each other. Literally that hallway, he walked out like shortly after. And I'm like, yo, Byron, what's going on? He was like, this is what's happening in this room. So I told some of the RDs, we were pissed, seething. Like, I don't care about anything else anymore. I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to do this. And so, and a lot of people, it didn't sit well with a lot of people after the fact. And so we spoke about it. Literally, some of us gathered around, told the RDs, told Res Life, everything like that. And let them know, you know what I'm saying? Like we had conversations. And so we planned a walkout, what was it? I think it was a walk something. And we stood, it was in the Ithaca, and we stood as public safety. We had like a conversation or something like that. And we stood literally as public safety was walking in to Emerson. I think it was Emerson. We were having the meeting in there. So we were in that hallway holding our signs, and we were like, this isn't acceptable. How are you, like, this doesn't make sense. And that was one of the first actions of POC at IC. That's one of the triggers. That's one of the things that started that. And then it just got worse and worse as the semester started, like literally. So when the semester started, nobody really knew what was going on. Like, people came back to campus and they had just seen that, like, the kids that arrived early on campus are making noise because they're, whatever, public safety, right? So people had an idea, but people really didn't know, nor did they really care, because they weren't there to see it. It really wasn't something that people really care. Like, RAs were like very, pumped up about it, but it's moving time. No one's really focused on that, right? So after, there were two incidences, one with my resident and one with another former resident. And my current resident, so there was an issue. I was in Towers, I was an RA in Towers and West Tower, and I had a resident that was coming from late night. And, I was very free, like, just saying, hey, if you need my number, text me, call me, whatever the case is, I'll be here. So my resident was coming back from late night. This was like a really chaos. It was crazy. Coming back from late night, and it was like, someone just called me some names in the elevator. And I just remember it was just like a lot. It was a lot going on. Excuse me, but I was in my room. I had two of my friends that were at the same guys. It was two guys. They came. We were friends, so we were all hanging out, talking, obviously, about everything going on. And my resident comes in and literally says that someone just called her an N-word, B-word. I would say it on here, but it's a lot, and you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, are you serious? So I don't want to already call public safety, but guess what? Per protocol, I have to, because there's someone in this building that is harassing residents, Black residents, clearly. So, and it was like this whole thing. We ended up having to, and it was like, public safety ended up coming, and it was like a really tense situation, and it was all happening in my little room in Towers, and it was not like, it was the most anxiety. Like, that man is sitting, and then he's seeing two men of color, and it's me, and the two men are getting, like, all of us are angry, right? Like, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, yo, I need this man to leave this room. Like, I just need him to take the report. Da, 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 da. And as he was taking the report, he was questioning. It was almost like he was gaslighting the situation. This didn't even happen to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm stressed, like times 10. And my two friends are like, but they're just like, already we're pissed off from the previous situation, and now we have to deal with this shit, and we're mad. Like, they were mad, and one of them, I remember him getting up and really like whatever, and then it was weird, and I was just like, I'm really and truly not about to have no type of situation happen in this very West Tower room. None of it at all. At all. So I was like, let's take the report, let's do whatever. I was over it. Like, I was like, public safety is not going to do anything. Like, they're not. The actual RAs ended up finding the actual person who did it, who was living on the 12th floor, and we reprimanded them, and they needless to say, the situation was it could have been handled better, but it was handled, right? We found the person, we confronted the person, and we did what we had to do, even if the person didn't learn. And I don't think the person actually learned from the situation. So it was all trauma and a waste of time. But that also added to the pile. It added to the reasons why we needed to do this movement. Then a few weeks later, my old resident texts me this Halloween party that's going on. This gives you the amount of time. So August, all this was happening. August, September, October, November, October, they were going to have this party. Crooks and Robbers is what they named it. My former resident had texted it to me and said, this doesn't sit right with me. I just got an invite, and it looks like racist. Like, this doesn't sit right. Basically, it was cooks and robbers. So cooks were like supposed to dress preppy and, have like whatever. And the robbers, specifically, the dress code was 90s Biggie Tupac style, do rag, tatter grill, gold, like literally like the race. Child, I saw that. I was like, whoa, this is okay. Bet. I remember getting that text. I was in class in the park school, and I was like, well, all right. I posted it on my Facebook, and then I posted it on, we had a group chat. I sent it to Res Life. And I worked at Res Life, like as an office. I was very much in Res Life. But I sent it to the group chat. And I posted on my Facebook. And when I posted on my Facebook, that's when everything was chaotic. That's when everything just started going. The Ithaca child, the screenshot that they got, and also I was trying to be smart. I underlined and I made certain marks so I knew it was me. That the screenshot that they took was from my Facebook page. Like, I'm calling out literally what the hell is going on. People put it on Twitter. Excuse me. People put it on different like platforms that, they were like, this is outrageous. And some of the guys that were throwing the party were like really like harassing, and like it was a mess. And it was canceled. The party it was an off-campus party, and I mean, they said it was canceled. I'm sure they found a way to do it, like, off campus be like. So, but that was just, that's what really kind of propelled a lot of things. Like, the Ithaca picked that up, and that's when everything started going. So we were just like, we can't do this. Da, 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 da. President Roshan isn't doing nothing. It's nothing giving. So we literally started meeting in the ALS room, like, during our Alana meeting, during our organization meetings, we all had these conversations in our little silos. So we ended up just coming big together and just being like, yo, this is a problem. Like, what are we finna do about it? And like, my issues were just like small. Like, my issues are just the ones that, whatever. I can tell you like the genesis of the POC at IC because I was there every single step of the way. Like, I was there even before it happened. Like, I was there with the people that were like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I saw all of these people coming from different parts of, places, and they were just like, let's sit and let's do something about it. And that's literally kind of how it started. And we started organizing after that, like, yeah, like around October there. And it was just like heavy, like it was just a lot. And we met in that ALS room. We'd be in that room for hours. And that's when I was actually going to be launching Malaika. And I'd already started working on Malaika, my brand, before this. So I was gonna launch November 4th, my birthday, and we were planning these things. I was literally sitting in the ALS room till 3, 4 in the morning. My RD, shout out to Megan, she would let me go into her office and use her laptop and have meetings in there and like do different things, because like we're having meetings, like we're literally talking about sleeping in PRW. We can't have that meeting with a whole bunch of people that they might go and tell people in PRW. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we have to be very strategic about what we do, because everyone, not for nothing, had different motives. And that's the unfortunate part of the student activism thing, is that like not everybody will be for you. Some people will, and I saw it happen in real time. Not everybody is going to be for you. Like there were some things that we were planning, and we would see, and we would make a plan B to be smart, but we knew, and we also read from the people before us, from the Angela Davises. Like we knew that if we saw public safety sitting up at that Freedom Rock, we knew someone had spilled. We knew someone, if we saw them getting ready to post up, we knew someone spoke. We knew somebody said something. So that's how we were noticing that some of our information was getting out and doing things like, and it's annoying because you're trying to plan something for the betterment of the students. I'm not trying to get Roshan and public safety involved, because they're the ones that I'm not calling public safety to be there, because of already the experiences I've had with them are traumatizing, along with everyone else's personal experiences. But yeah, I'm sorry, I ramble on that question, but I feel like it's just necessary to know that,
The
like,
context.
the context, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where a lot of that stuff started, and people don't really know the genesis of it. People just think we got up one day and we're like, hey, let's do PSA. But it was a whole thing behind it. My senior year, listen, child, I wish I was partying. I wish I was doing, but I was really like in it. Like I was an RA. I launched my thing, my business. Literally the first customers that wore it, everyone that wore it that day, that protest, bought it. Like they were my first customers, and everybody was like, this is perfect. And people thought that I made the clothes for the movement. It was already, it just happened. It just was
In
fate.
alignment.
It aligned, literally, it aligned. Um, and yeah, and it was chaotic, to say the least. I had professors that weren't really happy with me doing that. Like it was, you have professors that aren't really feeling it. They love Tom Roshan. They want, they were getting something out of his presidency, and they were mad at me. I'm sitting in these classes and they're sitting there mad at me, doing passive aggressive things, and don't want me to walk out, and failing me here and doing that. Child.
Sick.
It was very,
Sick.
very, like there was one professor that failed me. And it's fine, because guess what? I still got a job. I still got my business. I'm still thriving. I'm still doing what I got to do. And I'm still going to be loud about it. You can give me, and she said she didn't want to, she was not going to give me no redo. She was not going to do this. She was not going to do that. And it was literally because of the walkouts. She was doing that because I was very active in that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? The work is there, but you don't want to do, because, and I wasn't even going to press it, because I was like, I'm out of here. I'm done. Keep that there. Is fine, because the work that I've done is gonna make up for that little F for that little class.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's fine. Like,
absolutely. And
yeah,
you're a whole brand owner, not to mention there is no comparison there, but we digress.
it's fine.
We
We
digress.
still thrive. We still thrive. There were weapons formed against us, but we still thrived. All right.
Absolutely. I find it very resonant what you talk about having left the US to go to Ghana, and how that brings in a different perspective, one that I find very relatable because I also immigrated in and out of the US.
Mhm.
And I just need to ask, like, how does your identity play into your activism? How deeply rooted is it with the things that you do, even like with your own projects?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's my identity is literally like intertwined with the work I do, and I learn more about myself through the work that I do. I never really was the one to talk about certain things about me. Like, for one, fat phobia. I don't want to talk about my weight, don't want to talk about my body, don't want to talk about nothing. But through this work, I realized that, like, even through the activism work, as a Black woman already, like, then you add my Af- I'm an American, so I have that privilege. But I'm the child of immigrants, you know, that came here and have gone back to their respective countries because it wasn't cutting it here. Like it was really barely hanging on by a thread. Um, and you know, it all of it. Like I, you know, going to Ghana, like I realized I stepped into my West African, like my African heritages, like, you know, being able to understand those things, you know, being able to understand that I'm a US citizen and that is a privilege. And as much as this country actually hates me and will literally find a way to kill me in any second, I'm still a US citizen and that's a privilege. And it's kind of a hard concept to wrap my brain around just because I have all these isms and things against me. But, you know, I was applying to colleges and I didn't have to worry about visas. And I was, you know, my friends did. Like my close friends did. Some of them couldn't get a visa to come here. You know, some of them weren't able to, you know, even in school, even in IC, like, you know, I had friends that were, you know, they weren't citizens and it was a struggle because if something happened with aid, financial aid, it's a whole story,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So for me, like I already, it helps me to sort of understand my position in this society, right? And for me, um, I don't know, I just feel like it's very important for me to understand that. And I've learned, you know, along the way as well, you know, and even like talking like learn like honestly the fat phobia, right? Like I really didn't know anything about what it was until I started like learning about it. And I'm like, oh shoot, these things have happened in my life. Like I've
Mhm.
literally been judged because of my size. Like I've literally like, you know, all of these things. And um you learn a lot about them. Like you learn about as this journey continues. And you know, it really does inform the work that I do. And this, you know, this stuff is like constant. It's, you know, life, it's continuous, you know what I'm saying? And you know, you learn these things outside of, you know, outside of school. I have to deal with of course I have to deal with doctors. I got to deal with a GYN. I got to deal with all these people. And you know, I'm going in for my damn head hurting and you telling me I need to lose weight. Girl, I'm not here for you to tell me to lose weight. My head is hurting. Can you tell me what's going on in my brain? Like like what's going on? Like it doesn't like that. And then seeing these things, it makes like a lot of different things just make sense to me. And then it also helps me to navigate the world too. Like I know that if I just know when I walk into a place, certain judgments are going to be placed on me, right? They might mammy me. They might think, oh, you know, or they might think that I'm just a mean, big black girl that's ready to, like all of these things. And because I read these things, I know about the black woman, the mammy, the Jezebel, like I know all of these things, these stereotypes. It helps me to sort of navigate, right? It helps me to be like, all right, well, I'm really not trying to be in this space because I'm not trying to do this with y'all. And you know what I'm saying? Like it helps me
Yeah.
to navigate certain things, right? Um, and it helps me to not really get not necessarily angry because I'm angry a lot, but it helps me to pick and choose the battles I fight because as a black woman, if I'm on the front, and I learned it, I see if I'm on the front line, like I was scared to sleep in my room by myself. I was sleeping with my friends, not on like no sexual shit, but like I was going to my friends' rooms and my one of my guys, I slept and I couldn't tell him what I was afraid of. I was just like I'm scared, like I don't know, like it's just I'm just scared. And he was just, and I knew people, and I'm an RA, people know where I live, people come and harass me,
Yeah.
like if they don't like, you know, and it was just like a lot. And I quit, and I wanted to quit that job, and I literally, it was just by chance, a better opportunity. I was able to be an RA in Gardens. Child, I don't know what it, but it was great because I was just like, I don't want people to know where I live. Like, and Garden, what was it, 26? It was like the farthest garden. It was like,
Yeah, 26.
I was like, whoa, great. Like, I'm out of sight, out of mind, out of whatever. The racism didn't stop because it was Emerson gets crazy when people are drunk. Um, but yeah, it's literally just like a lot. It's just like a lot going, like, you know, it was just, you just learn all of these things and you just have to navigate these things by yourself. And it's just hard. And, you know, just understanding what's going on. And like right now I can't call my friends to sleep here if I'm afraid of something. Like like I'm an independent person, like I have to be like that. You know, my parents live thousands of miles away, my sisters are scattered across the country. Like I'm really here by myself, like, you know what I'm saying? And I have to figure out how to do it. But also I do have community. Like, you know, we had strategies. We always put our locations on wherever we were. If something was going down, I knew where my friends were, they knew where I was. Like we have these things that just sort of keep us in check because Ithaca was a microcosm of the real world. You know, like people can shout racist shit. At least you can go to say, oh, you know, to the RA or RD or whatever. In the real world, who are you gonna call? NYPD, who is notorious for mishandling black citizens, like mistreating black citizens. What am I gonna call them for? Someone call me the N-word out on the street? No, I can't tell nobody that. Like, I literally have to live with it, and it's so shitty. But like, you have to sit there and you have to be like, word, I gotta pick and choose my battles. Like, it doesn't stop once I graduate. None of this stuff while I graduate, you know. So yeah, it's really just learning how to navigate it. You know, it's really like when I moved out to New York City, literally I was rejected housing because I was a black person. I had all my ducks in a row. I had everything. The 3 other people I was signing with were white. They didn't have their ducks in a row like I did. I made sure, because I know I need to have even more ducks in a row than they do. And they basically, they said they didn't want me. I had 3 months of rent up front. The other people didn't. And they said they rejected me only. What am I gonna do? I was homeless. I was home because of that. Who am I gonna go to? I can't go to Res Life. I can't call Res Life and be like, I want to stay in T3. I can't do that. I wish, I literally wish, but I couldn't. That was right after college. That was right after I graduated. And it was, you know, now it's like, this is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is very real. It's not just shit I'm reading about in my, you know, textbook or in the assigned readings or in this, you know, whatever. It's real life. And no one can, like, no, I have to talk to tenant, like, I have to do all of that. And it hits you. It hit me real hard. It hit me real hard after graduating. But it just goes to show that this stuff doesn't stop. Like, it does not stop at all. At all. It continuously. And I learned from these situations. Those are terrible situations to be in, but I learned from them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was chaotic.
And crazy situations to be at the forefront of.
No.
Because as a Black woman, and speaking for everyone as well, because it is POC at IC,
Yes.
even though it is a lead of Black activists and Black RAs. And that's the crazy part, that, you know, you will do the work, and who you can call, because the police is not going to do nothing for you, nor in real life nor on campus,
And then
when you're a person of color. And that's the whole basis of the movement.
Literally. So it's like, who are we gonna call? And that's when I realized that community sometimes you have to be selective about your community too. You know, the community that you're in is important. You know, it's very important. You know, you need to be mindful, because, you know, people are good at putting on a face. I'll say that. People are very good at putting on an act. And, you know, sometimes you really gotta, it's not your job to investigate, but some people, you know, you got to do it from the heart, because it's hard. You know, we had a lot of people in the beginning of POC at IC, and then people started dropping off. Then you saw people started making subs on Facebook. All these people are disrupting. All these da 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 da. They were coming from other people of color on campus. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just the white folks. It was coming from other people. So you sitting there, you're like, well, damn, I'm doing this for us.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm
If
failing a
not all
class.
skin folk are your kinfolk, then who is?
And that was a huge lesson in that. That was a very huge lesson in that. Very huge. And it was heartbreaking, but listen.
You learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So just to go a little bit deeper in on your experiences at IC, what were some projects that you were, and as well now are involved in, that we haven't like touched base on already, you might want to expand more on?
Projects in IC. Oof. I don't know. I was very heavily involved in ASA. You know, a lot of things. I did a photo campaign for ASA. When I was PR chair, it was really dope. It was, and I feel like that's what also kind of helped with starting also my brand. But it was an anti-stereotype campaign, literally because I was sick and tired of hearing people just saying anything anyhow. It was a photo campaign, and basically, it's so funny because that really informs what I do today, but that's a side note. I literally just was like, you know, let's do a photo shoot. Let's, you know, hey, like, let's do a photo shoot. Let's get the African flags. We can go to OSEMA and get the flags, period. And we're going to do a photo shoot with it, you know? So we got all the different African countries, the flags that we had. And, you know, we went to a park. we did a photo shoot, and we did copy text on the photos, and basically it was the stereotype Africa's not a country, and then at the bottom it has a fact that said Africa is made up of 56 countries, da, 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 da. Like really just kind of educating people, along the way. um and it went viral, child. It was going crazy on Twitter. CNN CNN did a story on it. BET, like literally, I didn't even have a major. I didn't even choose oratory, and I was like, oh, bet, like,
No major in viral.
right, literally. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like this communications thing, I might gotta get a
I'll
degree in.
get into it.
Right, So, I picked CMD, but at the time I was like really hectic. Like I had all these people on my phone like asking for interviews and this, that, and all these things. And it was really dope. I mean, it was great for my resume, but also it was great because people around the world, like when you look at the ASA page, the Facebook, we got thousands of people to get on there and like it and share it. And even if you go to the archives and look at the photos, they're there. Like people were sharing them like wild everywhere. Um and we got messages from people, Africans in India, like, thank you. We had Africans all around the world that were like, oh, thank you for, letting us, saying this message, letting us know. And that, helped me. That was my sophomore year. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't launch Malaika Apparel until the summer of 2015 when all that chaos was happening. I didn't start working on it, at least. And it was just, it all just sort of like happened. And I just saw the response, the positive response. And I was like, oh, like, wouldn't it be cool if I had Africa's Not a Country on my sweatshirt? Like now it's like, I don't even want to tell you. You're still saying this 2 years later and I'm upset. Now let me put it on my shirt so I don't have to say nothing. Now let me put it on here so I don't have to say nothing. Like I ain't gotta, now Africa, like something where you educate. And that's really the whole premise of my company, educating people with clothing, or just educating folks in different mediums, different ways. So that was like something that it inspired me to really just like launch Malaika Apparel, and it just, all of it kind of went hand in hand. And Malaika Apparel, I've been, like I said, I've been doing it since 2015, and it is something that I started in hopes of just educating folks about different issues that were going on, and really just trying to bridge a gap. And right now, you know that's something that I'm growing, like I've continued to do, because it's just, I'm passionate about it. Like, I'm still like, child, I was homeless. I was over here, I didn't have a place to live, but I was gonna make sure them orders got out. Like, like for me, it's just like, shoot, like, and people don't know the back end, like people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I was like, no, I need to make sure these items get out. Like, I need to make sure they made order. Like, I gotta make sure, all. So it's something that is very close, very dear to me. I feel like I'll just keep doing it forever. But because of those reasons, you know what I'm saying? Like the learning don't stop. It can't stop. And if I'm not for me, I can't physically, mentally also, like there's a lot of PTSD that came from that experience. That a lot of people don't talk about it, especially a lot of us in the POC at IC movement. A lot of the Black women, especially, have like, it's a lot. I don't like walking around at night, like at all, like because of, I remember walking out of Emerson and someone called me as I was doing rounds, and someone called me I'm like, whoa, what is going? I don't like walking around. After that, I was like, I just don't feel comfortable at all. Even I'm living in New York, like, there's everything.
New York is crazy.
I'm just, so and a lot of the women are dealing with, we talk about it, some of them don't even, they're learning, they're trying to figure out how to even talk about it the way I'm talking about it. Like, they're figuring out, how do I talk about because I'm not the only person that was in it. I might have been the starting group of it, but I wasn't the only one that was in it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like other folks that were heavily involved are, they kind of put that in the back of their mind, because it was hard. Like, it was very hard. People were tested on different levels, like their friendships, even their class. Like, it was just a lot for a lot of different people. So the mental health aspect of it is something that I say is very important. Now I have to see it. I have to, absolutely have to. Like, it, it's a lot. And just also knowing all of these things, it's a lot. I can't internalize all of these things, because if I do, I will literally combust. Like, I can't, you know. So the activism, you know, being you might not be in the front lines anymore, right? I know mentally I'm not equipped to be in the front lines right now, because I also know because of what I've seen and what I've studied, that Black women are not protected. You know what I'm saying? The state
Absolutely.
comes towards some of these protesters. I've seen it happen. Some of the protesters in Ferguson have been killed mysteriously, and no one has any follow up to it. Now, God forbid if that happened to me, no one is gonna. I'm just another hashtag. I'm literally just another hashtag. And I know that because of what I have seen and what I have observed. I cannot be in the front lines if I am not protected. And we all know that the Black woman is one of the most disrespected people in this country. We know that. That is a fact. We're one of the most disrespected. You know, if I can't go to sleep at night every night knowing, keeping reminding myself that, though, because if I do again, I'll combust. But you know, these are the things that I have to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what if I'm going to a protest out here in Manhattan and something happens to me? I don't have, my mother and father aren't here to bail me out. You know, I have to think of these very real life situations. Like, very real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to consider. And for me, you know, if I am going out on this, I'm going out with my people. Like, I'm going out with a group of people, and I'm coming back with my group of people. You know what I'm saying? And we keep our locations on. We keep, you know, there's certain things that we have to do that we've learned, but you know, we have to protect ourselves because we know what the state does, especially to Black activists. We've seen them dying mysteriously, and nobody. How is one of the activists in Ferguson found shot dead in a car? Like, and there's no follow up, there's no investigation, like, there's nothing. So, like, these are the things that I literally watch, and you know, and then it's scary. Activism is not for cute brownie points. It's
Yeah.
really not. It's real life shit. Like, it's real life shit. Very real.
Absolutely. And I think one of the nuances of student activism is acknowledging that, you know, some people have to be born into it because you are about it from the moment you walk into the room. As you said earlier, there are these stereotypes that are imposed onto you that you can't just help. It's about a survival thing.
It is. It literally is. It is.
And that's sick. It's sick that it's so like taxing on your mental.
It is. It is. And you have to find ways to sort of like cope with it, and deal with it. Not deal with it unhealthily, but like deal with it in a healthy way, you know? Because these things are for as
Yeah.
long as what you've known, right? So yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm.
So I'm just like very inspired about the fact that the PR with the ASA campaign movement had reached
Yes,
like global. I think that's amazing. I
yes.
want to know, who do you hope to reach with your activism?
People that are ready to be in it. Like, they're really ready to be in it, right? Before, you know, like I said, as I grow with, you know, get experience. You can't force someone to want to know something. You
Yeah.
can't. You cannot. You cannot force someone to care about the same things you care about. You can't force people to care about causes you care about at all. You know, you can be sitting here talking with someone about the racist things that you've gone through and things like that, but if they don't care, they don't care. And
Yeah.
I wish that for me, I would have, you know, sometimes I feel like time is waste. Like, for me, I don't waste my time with people that don't want to be in it. My time is precious, again, literally, because God forbid, who knows? Between the state, between the police, between the medical field, between all these, I don't really, it's not give, the chances aren't really giving. Like, I really have to be here. I have to spend my time and dish out my time with people who are going to be in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to spend my time teaching and educating people that want to be active in their community, that are not going to just give up after a year, or this is not a trend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you saw a lot of folks last year during the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement suddenly take up interest in, you know, fighting for Black lives and doing this and doing that and all that. And, some of them I followed up with them. Absolutely. Some of them shouted out Malaika, some of them tagged Malaika. And I said, okay, well, what are you trying to do? Some of them did not, some of them unfollowed, some of them unsubscribed from mailing lists, some of them, and it's performative, and I knew it. I absolutely, in the time, I knew some of this activism was performative AF. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? I've seen it about 2 other times. I saw it during my movement, and then I saw it in 2012.
It's familiar.
It's very familiar, and I knew it. You learn again from the previous experiences. So for me, I knew, people were going to not be in it. And so for me, I was just like, all right, I will do what we can to share the resources, but I'm not forcing nobody to be in this. I don't. And this is what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing this. Like, I'm not about the trends. Like, fuck a trend.
Yeah.
Like, this is real life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's somebody's life.
It's real life. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I do work for people that are ready to do the work, and in different ways, right? I don't have to be out in the streets, right? But if someone that is of privilege can do that, oh yeah, I'll tell you how to be in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can figure out a way to be in it. We can do all of, whatever. But I'm really here for the people that want to do it, not on some performative 1 week shit, like on some real life shit,
And I like that you mentioned that not everyone's role is on the front line. Like, not everybody gets to have the privilege to put their life out there, because as you mentioned, like, the Black woman is the most disrespected person in America, and it's not up to them to stand on the front line. But simultaneously, like, to do the work, to be able to have, because there's so many roles that go into activism, from healers to artists to creatives.
You need them. You need those people. Like, I'm realizing that for me, I'm stepping back, right? And I'm realizing my role. I'm not just going to provide clothes. I'm going to provide the resources. I'm going to educate y'all. Like, I'm going to be here. We can talk about certain things. We can do that. But physically, I can't be. I could tell you how to be.
You gotta be safe. You know
what I'm saying? I have to be safe. Look, I'm in my little safe house. Like, what's up with it? Like, I'm trying to be incognito, but some people, I'm learning, I'm repositioning myself. I'm learning that I cannot actually, at this point in my life, afford to be on the front line.
Yeah.
Physically, you know what I'm saying? But I know I have access to different spaces. I know my voice. I know different, all of these different things. So it's like you said, it's finding your position within the movement, because you need your healers. You know what I'm saying? You need the folks to come back to, if there is an issue, if there is the folks that were there putting water and milk in people, those are the healers. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that are there that are providing for you, need people that's going to feed the community. Like, you need all of these different sectors of folks to really bring a community together. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With that in mind, how would you recommend college students to get involved with activism, but beyond just activism, also their community? As we know that activism isn't just a performative act, an infographic on your Instagram, but how do you really get delved in and continue to show up?
Yes, I would say in terms of getting involved, I would say starting off with the different organizations, right? Going to the meetings, I'm no child, and there's a lot going, but attending the meetings. If you guys still have meetings, maybe it's online or something. But even then, still, there's so many communities online, right? Like, I'm in a Facebook group with other plus size Black women, and that has helped me to really understand some of these other people's experiences navigating through, in their bodies, and in this community. And I haven't really had that community ever, and I was able to find that on Facebook. And it's not just something that you can get. You don't have to be in a student org to be involved in some of these things, right? It's really important, to find something to care about, because there's a lot of things that people should be caring about, but just kind of narrow in on one thing or 2-3 things, and really try to delve into what it is, actual figuring out solutions, because there's no easy solution to this, because if there were, we wouldn't be sitting here having any of these conversations. But it's continuous work. You know what I'm saying? All of this is very continuous, and it's work that has to be done. Also looking at what other people in your community are doing, what other organizations are what other organizations exist that are doing work already that you want to do, because sometimes people just get up and like do shit and they don't realize that somebody else has been doing this for like 10 years and they are very well versed in that. So even like,
Exactly.
if it's like something like reproductive rights or, right, like whatever the case is, like make sure that you're looking at the folks, like you're looking for folks that are already engaging in these conversations. Even if it's on social media, you follow these people. Like, don't be sitting up there and following and unfollowing, because first of all,
Yeah.
the person on the other end sees that, but like, don't do that, because you're just being dishonest with yourself. And also, you're being dishonest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, right? If you want to
Yeah.
be in it, right? You ain't really do it. Like, no one's gonna force you to be in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not in it, somebody else is gonna be in it. But if you're in it, be in it. Like, be very much in it. So, um, yeah, I hope that answers that.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we go into the territory of allyship, especially because we gotta go there because
Absolutely.
as you mentioned, like it's not everybody's role to speak. There are people before you that been about this work, do this work, and I find that that's something about activism that is just so nuanced because everybody wants to have something to say, everybody want to be on the front line,
Right, exactly. And
and
that's
that's not the point.
exactly, literally, like, you realize what you're in it. Because not for nothing, during POC at IC, there were people that just wanted the spotlight. I
Just
did
wanted a
not,
speech.
they wanted to say so. They wanted it for their this and their that. I personally, I was not intentionally. I did not want to be in any of those videos. I didn't want to be in any Democracy Now shit. Like, I didn't want to be in. I intentionally, because some of them wanted me to, but I intentionally didn't want to, because before people say, "Oh, she's trying to be this, she's trying to be a figure, she's trying to," no, y'all gonna see me on these front lines though. I wasn't on Al Jazeera, I wasn't on this, that, and the third, but they, they were in my inbox. I just was not trying to be on video. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
still like, my name was still very much circulated in it. Like, people had their reasons, because you're about to graduate and jobs and this. I didn't care. I was like, someone's gonna hire me. If not, I'll figure it out myself. Like,
Yeah,
someone's gotta give. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and also if they don't want to hire me, I don't want to work there. So
exactly.
yeah, like, I'm not really trying to do all that. So for me, it's just people, yeah, there's gonna be people that only do it for the spotlight. Some of the stuff that happened, and you can easily tell, some of the stuff that happened during last summer, during that resurgence, some people started new Instagram accounts, new business pages, new this, new that. If you go check up on them now, they have not been updated since September 2020. And that's what
Yeah.
that is. Some people just want to be a part of the hype, and they want to be in the mix, and they want to say BLM, Black Square, but them pages haven't been updated since last year, summer of last year, not even fall,
Yeah.
summer. And I knew it was gonna happen, but I'm looking, and I literally go back to some of these pages and I'm like, oh, word, I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was very right. Some of these pages ain't been updated since, because you were only in it because of the hype, because of the cameras. You were hoping to get a little bite of the fame and a little come up. Some people got
Yeah.
their come up, which is, hey, I ain't mad at it, but you slowly see the activism dying down when they get to that come up, and they use it as just a come up. And folks like me, I sit in my house and I still am gonna do it. I sit here with my Malaika Apparel like that, and I do what I have to do. I ain't got, like, I'm not really here for an easy, like, if I was, I wouldn't be dealing with a lot of the struggles I have today.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
And there's a whole lot of struggle too.
It's a lot of struggle, especially COVID. It's
Yeah, more than anything. It's a strange time.
a lot.
And I have to ask, like, authenticity is like at the root of all this. How are you an authentic ally? How do
Um,
people authentically get involved?
yeah. Oh, I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm too authentic, but um, I don't know. For me personally, I just kind of like to keep everything a buck. Like, I like I like to keep everything like just for real, like real, like, I keep it real. I keep it too real, but it's just for the sake of transparency. You see a lot of people getting called out, child. You see a lot of these call out posts happening, girl. I'm not trying to be in that. Let me tell you that. Right? I'm not trying to have no come and tell me, oh, no, I'm very transparent with the things I do. Let me tell you that. The thing is that I'm not perfect, but I'm very transparent with and I'm authentic. Like, I like to think I'm authentic. That's kind of maybe comes off cocky, but I like to think I'm authentic because it's like I really be telling people my business and they don't really need me to know that. Like, I'm here telling y'all I was damn homeless. Like, a lot of people know that. Like, like I don't really like I say a lot of things on social media, but like private stuff, like I don't really talk about that unless like I need to put something in context. And also it's just important for people to know like I didn't just pop up and just do shit. Like, it's like it's a lot of things that have gone into my story, my life that's just made me like who I am and put me where I am today. Like some people, if they go to my page right now, they're like, "Oh yes, girl, come on," but like people don't know what I really be going through behind the scenes. Like people don't really know like the struggle. Like I lost my job top of COVID. Don't have the only thing I'm doing right now is Malaika Apparel, and I freelance for people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really being real with people. Sometimes people see me, they're like, "Yes, girl, you better work." I lost my job top of COVID. Like I'm hustling. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really trying to like, figure out A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, just trying to be real about shit. Like, you have folks, especially in the entrepreneur world, that say, oh, I'm making six figures, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like, where? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're just like, where did this person even come from? Like some of the authentic, like some of it you can sort of see through, but it's sometimes the authenticity turns people off too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is what it is, and that's just the kind of person I am. I like being transparent. I don't really, I don't tell people my whole life story business unless, it's in context or I have to say something or whatever the case is. But for the most part, just trying to be authentic in the things that I do. Like if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll tell you. Like I don't sometimes in this business shit, I don't know. I never owned a business before. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't, so it's very it's being real. Sometimes it's hard to be real with yourself too. But you
Yeah.
have, even with creating stuff from Malaika, I'm like, okay, Rita, is this like it's like ethical to put on a t-shirt? Like, do you want people like, some things I'm like, do you want people to wear, like being like, you just got to be real, like, especially when I'm doing like business stuff and creating merchandise and stuff, I have to be authentic with it. Like, I don't want to just be commercial and say, oh my God, yes, look at this black girl on a like, look at these black girls on a t-shirt, come and buy it. No, Sauda has a meaning. There's a reason why this has like, there's a reason why. And even that, like, I try to be like off, like real transparent. Like I really try to keep it real because, that's important to me. You know what I'm saying? If I'm struggling, I'm struggling and people are gonna know that,
Yeah.
I'm not living a luxury. Like I'm literally
Yeah.
like I'm living, so it's very it's important to me too to really be authentic because you don't want to you don't want to put out a fake perception of who you are out there.
Absolutely. On that topic of like life and like handling all of this, how do you, because I respect, how do you balance work, personal life, and activism? How are you taking care of yourself? Because you need to take care of yourself. And
Ooh.
so whether it's a call out or a question, how are you taking care of yourself, especially in a Panasonic that we're in right now? How are you handling yourself?
I could do better. I will say that. Actually, I will say, um, before when I was working a full-time job, it was difficult. It was hard. Because that was rough. That was very rough. Because I had a full-time job out in Long Island. So I was commuting an hour and a half every morning from Brooklyn to Long Island. When I had a full-time job. And I would come home, I would do work on the train. I would answer emails, customer service, this, then, and the third, and then I would go into work. Sometimes, I would do a sneaky tab in the, whatever. Um, it was hard though. It was hard though. I was not taking care of myself that during then though. I will say that. I will say it's kind of ironic, but with COVID and me losing my job, I've been able to sort of look at myself more. Like I was like when I was working that job, balancing my business, trying to pay rent, trying to do all these things, I was getting sick. Like physically, I was waking up every morning sick. Like my anxiety, it was stress. I was physically ill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't concentrate on work because I would call out of work a lot because I was fit, and I had never experienced that until I started juggling all of these different things. Even in Ithaca, like I was in RA, it was a lot. Like I've always just been someone that just like I was in RA, I was working office job in Res Life, I was working student affairs as an office assistant. I had an off-campus job, that an off-campus internship, all while I was planning POC at IC, and I was planning to launch Malaika Apparel. So that was another thing that I was just putting on my plate, you know, and also being a full-time student. It's a lot, and sometimes like, you know, you neglect some things. Like in school, I neglected some things, and you know, you learn from it. And you know, when I had the 9 to 5, I definitely neglected my health. And right now I feel like I've been able to take care of myself a little more. Like I take my vitamins, I do this, like I have, and I'm still like, honestly speaking, I'm still right now trying to figure out the best kind of self-care for me. But I think for me this year has sort of been important for me to rest, because me losing that job was a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I was so distraught when it happened. But child, you just go find unemployment, do what you got to do. You know, got to do what you got to do, girl.
Yeah.
And it helped because it's just like now I can rest. And it was so weird. It was so weird because if I did not lose that job, I was not going to rest. And I feel like the universe was like, girl, you need to take a little bit. Yeah. Like I was forcefully halted. I was forceful. Like it was by force. I'm not getting up and going. And where am I going? I'm working
Yeah.
from home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I have that. And then also I could focus on my business more. Like I could focus on actually like scaling my bit, growing my business, because now I'm not worried about another person's stuff. Like I'm here and I can actually focus on me and myself. And I feel like this past year, I've just been able to really take like rest. And in a way, like I've been able to sleep a little bit more, not as much, but a little bit more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can, you know, on a Saturday I can lay in bed. Like I was taking work meetings on Saturday, I was doing photo shoots on Saturdays and Sundays. Like I was 7 days on, no
No
off,
weekend.
you know, exactly. And now, you know, if I do want to take a break, now I set my own schedule, right? Now I'm literally actually my own boss. Like, you know, if I have clients, like, you know, like now I freelance for other people, I do creative stuff for other people, which help supplement, you know, the business part. And you know, it's dope because it's like now I can be creative without my director telling me no, we don't got to do this,
Yeah.
we ain't gonna do. Like now I can be creative and post it on Instagram and prove to people that this was a fire idea. Like, duh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I don't really have people telling me no. Like, you know, unless it's someone that I'm working, you know, whatever the case is. But it's been very helpful. Like, COVID is chaotic, but for me, low key, I'm not saying the pandemic was at all. Like, no. But I think me losing my job in the way that I did happened for a reason. I was so when my friends, I was on the phone. I lost a job. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Rent due next week. I don't know what. Listen, I needed to.
Blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise, because if I was going the way I was going, I don't think I would have ended up in a good position. Like I don't think my health would have been even worse than what. Like now I'm finding ways to take care of myself. I'm scheduling the necessary doctor, even just scheduling the necessary doctor appointments. Like that was a lot for me. I'm going to Long Island every day. I got bosses that are giving me attitude if I call in late or I'm coming in, you know, I'm not coming in or whatever. And it's like now I don't have to deal with that passive aggressive BS that adds to the stress. Now if I'm not gonna answer I put an away message up. I'll get back to you when, you know, like it's setting boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like I have 2 phones specifically for my friends and for business, and and that's when it has to be like that. Like now I'm making like I have to make boundaries, because I can't have clients calling me at 12 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that at all, because I have to also take time. And I'm learning that Rita also has to rest the same way everybody else rests, the same way I'm doing work for everybody else is resting. Rita Bunatal, she has to rest as well. because if I don't, none of this shit getting done. None of it
Yeah.
is gonna go. And I'm really kind of not trying to like do all of that. I'm not trying to like become ugly, you know what I'm saying? Like right
Yeah.
now I'm not trying to do all that. But you know, it's really finding ways. Like, you know, I've just been trying to find out ways that I like. So listen, I didn't really know I like playing video games, but over the, you know, I like playing a little PlayStation. Like I wasn't really into it, but that's kind of like self care for me. I kind of like it. Like, you know, and it's just different things that like I really have like I've never really done before. Like, you know, like I like my little baths, but child, sometimes you ain't got a bathtub to be doing all that in. So it's like, you know, maybe spend a little weekend in a hotel, take
Yeah.
your time, take your little self care, do what you gotta do. You know, things like, you know, I'm just figuring out things that will work for me. Like I want to like it's pandemic, so you can't travel. But like, you know, I want to go to a little cabin, you know, I want to do a little, you
Just
know,
get away.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I've made it a goal to myself every month. I need to do something for my self-care to make sure that I'm good. Like right now I'm looking for a new therapist that is going to help me get my life, you know, and really help me with the issues that I need help with. And you know, just really just figuring out my stuff. Like for real, now I have the time to, I'm going to do it for me. You know what I'm saying? And why not? Like, you know, I have to, no one else, this is such a grim way of thinking of things, but like it's a saying, like you're born alone, you die alone. You know, like I'm here, like if no one is gonna, you know, I have to take care of myself. Like I, if it's not me, then who? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like again, my mother's in Ghana, my father's in Kenya.
Exactly.
My mother's not here to wake me up every day and talk about girl, eat breakfast. No.
Yeah.
No, I
That's
gotta do that
real.
myself. I gotta drink my bottles of water. Like I gotta get my like things like that. Like just simple things. My body, I know when my body needs water. Now I can tell when she,
Dehydrated.
you know what I'm saying? Like before I was just in autopilot. Now I can hear my body telling me, Rita, drink
Get you
some
some water.
right. You don't drink, you know, I don't feel good because I haven't drank what like just little small my head is hurting. Why is my head am I stressed? Okay, let me turn the computer off. And is it,
Yeah.
you know, let me, you know what? I said and you know it's really and I love being able to sort of learn my body and sort of, you know, especially because not for nothing, my body is not the desirable type. And not for nothing, you go to the doctor, they're telling you diet, do all the but it's just for my mental, it's nice to sit and actually listen to my body and be like, all right, Rita, like you got to do this because your body is literally asking you to eat some food or drink some water. Like there's days sometimes I forget to eat. Like that's not
Yeah.
good. That is literally not good.
But it's
You know what I'm
real.
saying? But it's
Yeah.
real. Like I can't do that. Like I literally, especially when I was working, I did sometimes I didn't even have not for nothing. I didn't really have enough money to be doing all of that, you know. So it was really hard. It was very hard, but it's a process, you know. It's not just lighting candles and sitting in a bathtub. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
book. Sometimes it's doing something different, you know, whatever the case, playing damn video games. I love me some video games, like, you know, whatever the case is. Um, so yeah, you know, it's a learning process. And again, as you grow, you learn that different things are, you know, are interesting to you.
Yeah. We have a question from the audience. Rita, what role do you feel institutions of higher education like Ithaca need to be playing to allow for activism? And do you feel the progress has been made to ensure students feel safe to speak out on campus?
Hmm. So I would say I feel like the higher so I feel like I'm reading the question, I'm sorry. I need to be playing listening to the students. Because the students are the one that's living there. You know what I'm saying? Like the students is the one that's living there at night because people go back to their home, the professors and faculty go back to their home, faculty staff go back home. And, you know, they're they're dealing with real life issues in Ithaca, but not necessarily what's happening on this like secluded on the east, like the campus on the hill. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
they're not really like no one's really like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, folks are getting paychecks because of our tuition. So it's great if you listen to us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's to be great. You know what I'm saying? So it's really and the student, like, you know, we didn't ask for permission. Like I didn't ask no damn Tom Roshan if, hey, can we protest? We said, let's go. Like, let's go. And that's what this activism, like, that's what activism is. It's just, is a disruption. It's a disruption of everyday normal. Like, sometimes you got to disrupt the traffic in the street. Sometimes you're going to put your body, some people put their bodies there. I was also in some of the Ithaca city, the town, the protests for Black Lives Matter. And people was standing, like, people was stopping traffic for definitely, so it's really like getting up and disrupting, like that walkout. And the teachers were pissed when they saw their students walking out, and some of them didn't even tell them they're walking out, like, like they just walked out, bye, like, type of thing. And it's just, really creating that space for yourself. And I feel like, the higher ed folks that are working in higher ed, it's important to listen to what the students are saying, and what, and being observant, having an ear to the ground, like, you know what I'm saying. It's not always, high, real big, just got high level. It's really sometimes, there's things happening, excuse me, behind closed doors that people don't really know. Like, how many, like, I don't even know how many people maybe have gone through the same issue that I went through with my resident. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to see that in the Ithacan all the time, especially if no one is going to talk about it. And especially if there's fear of talking about it. I think it's important to create a space where people aren't afraid to say that some of these things are happening, and be honest about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I know that a new president is not going to change. Same, it's the same on a global and a micro level. All of these things are not going to change overnight at all. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, hello, you still got to. Joe Biden is he's putting pressure. You still got to put pressure on the people that are in power, in positions of power, because it's important. It's important if something isn't going right. If people are still getting called the N-word and cry, whatever. It needs to be known. It needs to be brought up. This isn't a one shoe fit all situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's issues, if there are things going on, it needs to be addressed, absolutely. And finding a group of people to help amplify that is just super important. And then progress, I think, so with the, I'm not on, obviously I'm not on ground at Ithaca. I can't really speak for specific incidences at Ithaca. I would say, from what I've heard, things can be going a little bit better. Um, but I think, students, the work doesn't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really doesn't. Like, I know me leaving us, like, when my class graduated, like, I know even that that second semester after the protest, it was like people didn't really want to talk about it too much, and I know, especially being 5 years out, 4 years out, people aren't really, like, we talk about it in situations like this, but it's not the way it was when everybody, like, it was everywhere, like, on campus everywhere, like, it was like a hot topic. um so yeah, I would like to believe that the students there, and I've definitely seen, like, work that folks like you have been doing, your group have been doing, and things like that, and I think it's great. The ideas line, like, that's hot. Like, I haven't been there, but that sounds like a very, like, I would have loved to be in that. Like, I wish I could have had, but you know what? I'm glad that y'all have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay having had graduated and being like, at least it wasn't in vain. Like,
Yeah.
like, at least this shit wasn't in vain. None of it. Like, like, all the situations might not be solved, and that's what that is, and that's really what it is. But I'm glad that there has been some progress being made in order to ensure that students of color, folks of color, have a safe space, have safe spaces that they could be in, and sort of, like, have these conversations and know that, we did do this. Like, we did, child, we was sleeping in PRW for like a week and some change. Like, nobody had done that at all. Like, at all. Like, we really literally brought all our shit to PRW and was just going back to shower and brush our teeth. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think for the work that we did, we were able to push a lot of the boundaries and really show students that, yeah, we can push, the boundaries can be pushed in these certain ways to make sure that our voices are heard. And I feel like that's just a good example. Like, it's just it's great. Like for me, it was great again to witness the people while I was a freshman, seeing what they were doing and learning from that. The same thing, you know, you're gonna see, look, Malcolm X, all these activists that we praise, sometimes their shit wasn't perfect. Same, big same to say, sometimes the shit wasn't perfect, but you learn from that. You know what I'm saying? Like you learn what worked and what didn't. Like I was reading stuff from different folks. Like even in our CSCRE classes, you're reading text and it's like you're learning. Like you know, you read about snitches.
Yeah.
That's how people got killed. That's how Fred Hampton got killed. Like literally, you hear about people working in cahoots with the ops. You know what I'm saying? Like you know these things happen. Our ancestors have literally given us manuals. Even Baldwin, Bella, like all of these people have given us literal. Hey, girl, take it. You need to read it. Like you know, here's it's like a manual. You know what I'm saying? You learn from what they did. You learn from what they didn't do. You learn these things. You learn that they're again not all your skin folk is your kinfolk. People like that's how you look at
Yeah.
Alfred Hampton. You look at that and you're like, whoa, like you read stories like that and you're like, all right, okay, we need to be careful about A, B, and C because it's not just a figment of my imagination. This is like real, like it's real life. Like it's not a
Yeah.
conspiracy. That's like real life. Hopefully
Absolutely.
that answered the question and I wasn't just rambling.
Thank you to whoever asked. So, lastly, what is your call to action for Ithaca College students?
Um, get involved. You know what I'm saying? Like be in the mix. Like be in the mix, like this, like honestly, a lot of my opportunities in this in real life, I'm not saying colleges in real life, it's very real life. But like post college, it came from stuff that I was doing not in class. Like a lot, and I'm not saying no pay attention in class now. No, that at all. But I am saying that involvement is very important. The ways in which you are involved, because that will carry on with you whether you like it or not. For me, a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that I have been um able to do is because of things that I was involved in. Extra, like not in class, like but it's just like getting involved, you know what I'm saying? Like yes, it's important to get your degree, but also like learn shit. Like learn shit that is uncomfortable to you, like learn about things that you would have never learned from in your hometown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really a place for college. I feel like it's just a place for you to get to learn a lot of different people's experiences, a lot of different worldviews, a lot of, you have a lot of people that's opinions, a lot of things you can also learn from people. And, it's just really, I feel like important to like get involved in shit because like, I wasn't on CNN because of like my park school, like because I took constant, like, no. I was in CI because of other stuff that I did. I applied some of the knowledge that I took from some of these courses, and then I said, "Hey, what's up? Let me make something for myself. Like, let me do something for myself." Because like when I applied to these jobs don't ask me for my degree. They ask me what I've done. They ain't even asked me to see my degree. I don't even. I'm not gonna hold you. I never pulled it out and showed nobody nothing with my degree. What they ask me though is if I have done what I've done. Absolutely, they ask me, and then they go online and they check. They go and check what it. Yeah, I have my degree. I got whatever, whatever. But they want to see the real life shit that I've done. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like yeah, it's really important to get involved in these things, and especially now moving forward. Things get political. Even if you don't want to be political, your existence is political. So it's better to have conversations than to ignore them, because it's you can't really ignore it at this point. And don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. There's been situations where I have been uncomfortable in, whether I liked it or not. That's a different story. But there have been spaces where I've felt mad uncomfortable and I've had to check my privilege. Again, like I said, I got all these things, I guess, but I'm an American citizen. If I'm sitting in a room with folks that are not, that they don't have the privilege that I have, then I need to shut the hell up and I need to listen to what's going on. And I don't have a problem doing that. I really don't, because I don't know everything. And I do not kind of want to know everything, or else that'll drive me up the wall. But I want to learn. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm sitting in a room and I want to learn about experience, I want to be able to, learn what's going on. I want to educate myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that to me is just like super, super important.
Well, thank you, Rita, for spending time with us tonight, with giving us all your knowledge and
Yes.
so on and so forth. We love having you. And thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and let's give a little round of applause for Rita.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Thank you, thank you. And yeah, if you want to connect, feel free. Follow. You can follow me personally, or you can LinkedIn if you want to do LinkedIn. I'm not really on LinkedIn like that, but that's fine. What else? Email if you want to things like that. If you have any questions, things like that. Um, I'm pretty available. I'm pretty free. Anything, if you want to talk more about the, POC at IC, things like that, you can email me, let me know. I'm pretty open, to talking about things, because I don't want this. I especially don't want the story of POC at IC to get lost in the sauce, because we did so much, and there was so much that happened that semester that is just like, let's get into it, like, let's keep this up. We don't want people to forget that we did some real wild shit, like real wild shit. But yeah, hit me up. I'm here to talk, here to chat. Gaby knows, I'm here. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Rita.
Of course, thank you all for having me.
Omega, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Okay, so thank you so much again, Rita. Your voice being added to our archive is chef's kiss, really.
I'm glad.
To this day.
Hey.
And to give voice to the complexity that is, conflict and resolution through activism is amazing to hear it. So I'm really, really, really thankful to have had you come and speak.
Absolutely, thank you.
If any of you on the call would like to see this recording, as soon as we have it edited, we'll be putting it on um, our YouTube channel, where we have an entire playlist of all of the IC Voices interviews that you can check out. So that's the Ideas YouTube channel. And just reminder, this is part of the MLK celebration, campus-wide celebration for 2021. We have other events. Please check out our website and try and make as many as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, everyone, you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you too.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, thank you.